Hi, this is Marching Memory Cinema, or also known as SouthMan. I want to talk about how you might. Hi. I want to talk about how you might get plot holes in movies, and how some of my friends, while they're well-meaning, it's kind of a frustrating combination that makes me want to pull my hair out. Is that some people will point out the plot holes in my SouthMan post-apocalyptic series. Now that actually is apparently a pretty common thing, and I've heard it from friends and other people where they point out plot holes in a movie that for whatever reason frustrates. And for some reason they consider everything a plot hole when it may not even be a plot hole. So a plot hole might be, we'll give a case scenario. A plot hole might be, one famous one is Lord of the Rings, and this is not actually a plot hole, but just a complaint, is why in Lord of the Rings did they not just take the eagle and bring it to the mountain and drop the ring into the fire? What's kind of really annoying is some people won't even sit down and watch a movie without looking at all the logic and plot holes in it. So because of that, that forces me to talk about plot holes. Now I'm going to talk about a SouthMan plot hole that's been pointed out, and it's just kind of really like, oh man, I got to talk about this again. I took it into my place to actually deal with how people have logic. So in SouthMan, I know that sometimes people critique logically post-apocalyptic short film. So, like, oh, the characters are not dirty enough, their clothes are not torn enough, and even YouTube short films are not kept from that. So, one of the plot holes that was pointed out was with episode 7, and it's with Connor's character, Black River, and then the other character, which is his old CIA boss, director Lane Jackson. So here's the thing that was pointed out with that character, director Lane Jackson. Well, there's a scene where Connor's character and director Lane Jackson, they basically meet together to make this deal. Connor's supposed to be killing SouthMan and taking him out, right? So basically, but Black River has different plans, and he spares SouthMan, which is a person of interest, and then that person, he kills him, and then he takes the head of SouthMan, and well, it's not actually the head of SouthMan, but he tries to trick his boss. He doesn't kill SouthMan, he uses any head will do. So he takes a head and he brings it to his boss. In that scene, he gives it to his head, and then his boss gives him a note, and this note says on the note that your family has been a reminder of my weakness. In his weakness, he's referring to his deformed face as well as his mutated brain cell, which director Lane Jackson, we know from episode 7 part 2 that he was a part of that project at Punker 88, secret project, the stem cell research, and that's where they were testing on people, and all that. And so because they were testing on stem cell and brain cells, and testing them, he was the first human subject for that testing project, the thing that makes him live long. And basically he ended up, it went wrong, and it mutated his face, deformed it, and as well as mutated its brain cells. And the scientist mentions that he had mood swings, and it had some mood swings, but it was manager over time and all this, etc. Well, the bad guy who runs like the society and all this, he is the Black River's family, which are called the Perfect. The Perfects refer to people who had the stem cell research done, and they live longer than the average human being. Well, basically, when Connor's character was meeting the main bad guy, director Lane Jackson, he was saying that Black River's family, which were a part of that project, the stem cell research that made people live longer than the average human being, he was saying his family was reminding him of a weakness, of his weakness, that it didn't work out well for him, right? and so thus he killed his family. Well, in that moment, Black River tries to get his bat like he's about to kill the bad guy, and then he points his gun at him, and he doesn't kill Black River in that moment. And then Black River goes to Bunker 88, and there's an implication that he's trying to take revenge or something. And so the complaint was from a friend that basically they were mentioning, and I'm just saying this, that it's an interesting plot hole, that basically, why did the bad guy just not go ahead and kill Connor's character, Black River, already right there in that moment, and let him live and give him the possible revenge? Okay, guys, so here's the thing. If the bad guy killed Connor's character, there would never be a really interesting story. The video right there, episode 7, would end with Connor's character dying. Number one is Connor's character then couldn't help out SouthMan and thus contact the Wanderer is her name, the girl, and to help find SouthMan and find his nephew. Thus, we wouldn't have an interesting story. I know that would be kind of one way to do why he's gonna go ahead and just kill Black River. Well, we don't want that character to die. And number two, we want that character to continue. But as for why did he not kill him, well, that's going to be answered real quick in here if you're really curious. He didn't kill Black River for two possible reasons. Actually, one is originally we were going to redo that scene, and it was going to kind of make sense. It was going to involve the bad guy, and he was going to be in a tunnel. This is how we were going to do it instead. And when he goes to the tunnel, he does the same exchange, and then Black River walks outside of the tunnel, and he ends up seeing that piece of paper that says that he killed his family. In that moment, Black River tries to take revenge, and there was supposed to be 2 guards at this tunnel, dark tunnel. When Black River reads that paper, he goes ballistic and he decides to kill both of the guards and starts attacking the whole base. There's going to be a big shootout at the main bad guy's base, Director Lane Jackson, aka the assassin. There's going to be a big fight out and a big battle, and Black River was going to take in the inventory one of their guns. Well, see, here's the deal. It takes a lot to make movies, and we had a short amount of time to do this, and we honestly never got a chance to refilm that meeting scene as we had. We had to use what we used when we were in Oklahoma, and I had to just go ahead and use that footage that we had, even though I didn't really like the footage, and I had to do some editing and muting. And we had to use that footage because we just ran out of time, and the episode 7 needed to be done. It's been taking forever since I finished that episode. There's a lot of work that comes in making a movie, by the way. So basically, because of that was going to be the original storyline. But then the question that begs is, why did he not, if that was going to be your second version of that scene, why did the bad guy not still kill Black River? Well, that's basically the story, is that Black River was going to try to shoot his way outside of the thing. Maybe the bad guy was going to go in the tunnel, and then his guards were going to handle Black River, is what we could have done in the thing, and then they try to get ready to execute him, and Black River kills both of the guards. And he actually does end up stealing, basically, he ends up stealing a pretty cool weapon. If you see in Bunker 88 scene in episode 7, when he goes to Bunker 88, he has a MP7. That's what it is. It's an MP7 gun. That MP7 gun wasn't just randomly taken. It was actually one of the guns from Director Lane Jackson. Now, why was this not in the movie? Again, we just didn't have a lot of time. We didn't have time to do all that. If you really want to know, we didn't have time. So basically, that's what was going to happen. What could have done in the storyline, in the plot story, is, like I said, bad guy, he meets him in the tunnel, and then he calls in and he says, execute Black River. And then that's when it was going to happen. Also, another possibility, which makes more sense, is 2. is the key thing is when you watch part 2 of the Bunker 88 scene of episode 7, you see that there's some video logs, and they talk about director Lane Jackson mutating his brain cells in his face. And it kind of made the guy, director Lane Jackson, a little crazy and a little insane. Because he's a little bit crazy insane, yeah, he's going to make decisions that are not going to really fit what you think the bad guy should have done or what he should have done. So because of we are just not sure what the bad guy could have done. Because he's crazy. I mean, he's crazy. Like, one moment he has the logic that I gotta go kill Black River's family. For some reason, he didn't kill Black River. Then he decides, now I'm gonna go kill Black River and SouthMan. That doesn't make it a bad movie or a bad episode. It just that, yeah, there's a plot hole. But the plot hole doesn't mean it makes it being a bad movie. It just means that was kind of one of the things we just didn't have time to address. There was going to be more in there. Like I mentioned, the big battle scene in the base and Black River going crazy in that moment. The only time you kind of see that a little bit in the footage we have now is Black River takes his bat, and then the bad guy points his gun and does this. Again, that's another sign that this guy is crazy. He's mad, he's insane. So yeah, he's not really going to be making the most insane decisions. He's not really a logical person, like the Vulcans or something like that. He's actually just a crazy person. So I don't know if that helps you answer the question to why did he not get killed. But the biggest thing is, in our story creating, we wanted Black River, Connor's character, aka, to still live. We have a whole series planned for him, a short film. We didn't want to kill him off. That's like saying, why did the bad guy go ahead and not just kill SouthMan? Well, then SouthMan would die and there'd be no story and it would be boring. Why? So, yeah, logic is not always the way we go about things. It wouldn't make a good movie if you're always focusing on what you think is logical. For example, the thing with the eagles in Lord of the Rings. Why did they not just use the eagles? Well, one thing is, here's the thing. If they use the eagle, you remember the eye of Sonamon, gosh, I can't remember the evil bad guys. Like, it's almost like the devil or something. Well, anyway, that eye would have seen them coming, the eagles, and then the eye would have sent in the other flying creatures, and it would have just been not the best approach of getting into that mountain to destroy the ring. I mean, that's just something to think about. So the same thing with me, SouthMan. I hope that it answers your question. If you're really curious about all that, realize that we have specifically something for that. It's a podcast. It's called Behind SouthMan. And Behind SouthMan deals with those questions, doesn't skip over them, and addresses them. That's why we created Behind the SouthMan podcast, where it deals with those things. But honestly, I learned a lesson from I tried to make an episode 7, and I did try to fill in some plot holes and some questions or whys people had whys. And episode 7 attempted to do some of those things, to answer some of the questions that people like. Why is the dog alone in Bunker 88? That was a common question I heard more than one person. Well, episode 7 tried to answer that. But regardless of how much I tried to answer questions, there still was, well, why is this? So, guys, don't focus so much on plot holes. Enjoy a movie. Try to sit down and enjoy it. All right, peace out.